welcome back if you chose to watch on. So yeah, we talked about in the last video that mental health would be the topic of conversation, and specifically my experience. Now, the one thing I would say as a bit of a caveat to all of this content is that this works for me. It was my experience. Mental health is so bespoke to every single person, so do what works best for you. If something works or you try it and it doesn't work, then try something different. So hopefully me talking about my experience, you might get some support from it, but I think more than the specific tactical bits of information that I can give you in terms of what I did and still do today, more than that, it hopefully encourages people, if it helps, to talk openly about their experience. So on to the experience. So prior to 2017, a bit of a disclaimer, I didn't believe in mental health at all. I personally believed that it was just a moment in time that you needed to get over, grow bigger shoulders and move on. Fast forward from a really bad experience in 2017, I am the biggest advocate, or one of the biggest advocates, of mental well-being and mental health. And positive mindset kind of leads to positive outcomes. So just to pause on that and say, a really bad experience can end in a very positive outcome if you stay positive and remain focused. So my experience, so 2017, I was with my partner for about 10 years and she left me ultimately for somebody else, which was tough because nobody wants that to happen to them. It brings on a load of different complexities to your life and how you view yourself, and really it's not a nice thing for somebody to do. I mean, the relationship was over, but it doesn't make it any easier. Not from an emotional connection point of view, but how you view and feel about yourself. As a byproduct of that, I'd effectively lost my daughter full time and was looking at a very, very vague idea of childcare in terms of would it be 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. I'd lost her 7 days a week, and that was a massive shock to my system. It led to a very, very disruptive and destructional year and a half, turbulent 18 months of sadness, all centered around Indy, depression, anxiety, paranoia, lack of trust in people. So one person's selfish behaviour, which actually resulted in me going very much down the pan for 18 months, not because of the reason why it happened, but as a byproduct of losing my daughter, for example, was the thing that really sucked the most. I remember feeling really saddened and suffocated, almost like I couldn't breathe, like I was overwhelmed, which made us worry, not because of me physical health, but why was I feeling like this? I'm, a really bubbly guy. These feelings weren't natural to me. I was worried that something bad would happen, like I'll meet somebody else, for example, and this will happen again, and then Indy will be let down again, and I'll be not good enough for somebody else because of the way I was made to feel. Just a lot of anxiety and paranoia, and as I say, the kind of warning signs with that dark, deep hole inside of your chest that makes it sometimes unbearable to breathe. And I know that I've now got pretty high anxiety and paranoia and slight signs of depression as a result of that. But after a year and a half, it was kind of time to do something about it. After I'd kind of lived this destructive life for a year and a half, I needed to get control of things and not let it control me, because ultimately it was me and my thoughts based on an experience that was leading to the outcomes that I was facing. So I started to reach out. I started with local sort of charity groups. Mind was a really, really big supporter. AXA through work and Bupa were really, really good as well. And as I say, this was very specific to my insecurities about what might happen with Indy, for example, in future relationships based on a past experience. I started taking medication. In fact, I'm on higher medication now than I was back then, but I see that as a real positive because I stuck at it. I didn't let my highest days, the highest of high days, say, you know, that's your new baseline, Phil, you're forever fixed. I realised that I needed to keep going and stay laser focused on getting better. And just because I'm on higher medication now doesn't mean I failed. It just means that I still need support. So that's one thing I want you to recognise is you're never failing. You're just having a bad moment, a bad period of time, and always look for the positives. So the higher medication to me means that I can live every single day with a smile on my face, which pretty much broadly happens. So somebody could say to me that's a kind of a loss because I started off low and I'm on higher now. I see that as a win because look at the benefit I get out of it. Again, fast forward that year and a half, I've met my beautiful fiance Faye, who I've been with for 4 years, and our 2 beautiful kids, and I'm happier than I've ever been, but it still exists. It's still there. The paranoia that I'll lose Faye and the anxiety that my world as I know it today will crumble still absolutely happens. Not every day, but it still comes around. And I can be very destructive, I guess is the word, when I feel like that, because I go very insular. And the best advice I can give you is, and I'm doing this more and more now, and it's so simple, but talking about it. That little voice inside of your head is your most important voice. Even if you're speaking with pure emotion and there's no logic, talk about it. Henry knows this. I spoke to Henry a good few times since I joined the teams. I've had some major low moments when I've been working in this team, and it's nothing to do with work. I've broke down and thought I just can't keep going, but here I am on the 12th of July making a video about my experience, and honestly I feel great right now. Speak to me in March when I had those conversations with Henry, when I was quite frankly distraught on the phone. I would never have thought I would have been here now. It still exists though, and I want people to know that. And it's not smoke and mirrors. When I smile because I mean it, and when I laugh because I mean it. But it doesn't mean I won't come off a call if I'm having a bad day and still feel pretty bad. But what I do every single day now is I look for the positives in every day, even if that's sitting on the couch tonight and having a cuddle with Faye, watching some terrible TV that I pay £75 a month for, God knows why. That's my little golden moment. If I'm looking forward to a call, I'll think about that, even if I have 3 calls ahead of that are terrible, which doesn't often happen, but I always look for the positives. Always. It keeps me going, and hopefully that's something that you can take away from this as well. It's whatever works for you, right? And whatever, it's not treatment, but it's self-nurture and love and kindness that you invest in you that'll keep you going. Things might seem impossible. I remember points where it just felt like I cannot go on. And no matter what, I still got up every single day. I still made my bed. I still did my hair and I brushed my teeth. And just gradually over time is a great healer, and it's not on prescription. It's just something we get. And time heals massively, right? So give yourself time to breathe and recover and rest and go again. And that's another bit of crucial advice I'd give you. No matter how hard it is, just keep thinking in your head, this will get better. And it does. Even if it's 0.1% every day, it gets better. So yeah, I think speaking about it's definitely high up there. I think 2, acknowledging the positives when you're having a negative. Looking for that silver bullet in your day or your hour or your week if it's a bad period of time for you. Keep going, never stop, keep going, and reaching out for support is kind of aligned to that as well. And then the final one is more of an internal one. Speak to your people leader, speak to your team, speak to somebody that might not know you, not for respect or credit, because it allows you to speak to somebody who potentially is disconnected from the situation, and that sometimes helps as well. Speaking to total strangers, I've shared many a tear with people that I've hardly known but I know to say hello to, and it's helped me come away from that experience feeling better. It's what works for you is the important bit, but I just want you to know that on your highest of high days, cherish them and appreciate them, because they can come very often or they can become very infrequent. When you're having a bad day, take it for what it is. Don't beat yourself up about it. Take it for that moment, for that day, for that week, for that hour, for that month even. It's a bad period of time. What's the logical outcomes? Try to think with logic, not emotion. Emotion's usually a strong dictator in these scenarios, and I would encourage you to speak to yourself with logic. What's the practical realities of this thing happening or this bad event occurring, rather than thinking through emotion. So how will I feel when this happens? Because we can't predict the future, right? So always try and lean on your practical side, but speak out, start talking. I'm always here for a chat. If it's about you and how you feel, there's not much that would prioritize that. So we will work together as a team in digital customer experience and wider, I'd imagine, across the bank, to form a plan where it's properly supported and you feel like you've got what you need to go forward. In the interim, in absence of that, I'm here to support you, and as I say, I'll talk to anybody that needs a hand. So I hope that's helped bring you up to speed with who I am, what I've been through, what I still go through, what I do to cope. Hopefully you can take something from that and it'll help you. And look out for some support, because we will be putting some support in place. And in the interim, as I say, reach out to me if you need a hand or you're just having a bad day. I don't mind sparing any time to give you a bit of a hand on that day. Until next time, I'll speak to you soon. I hope this has helped, and thanks so much for sticking with me on the 12 minutes and 35 that I'm on now. Take care. Have a good day. Bye.